I've briefly shown this in a previous video, but as today's session involves a related project, I figured another appearance wouldn't hurt. Hi, this is Inkworks, and I'm Irene. Most of my fountain pens have been laying in a couple of tin trays. Well, actually, it's a storage box, so I use both the bottom and lid as trays. But that's not the point. The important part is the cork lining, because this box didn't come that way. Oh no, I added the cork myself, and I'm about to show you how I did it on another box. By the way, isn't that the most adorable thing? Choco Cat is a Sanrio character. I've had this tin for many years. It's been used for multiple purposes, such as storing Band-Aids, being a vanity catch-all, and more recently, corralling fountain pens. You won't be seeing my entire fountain pen collection, since a few reside in my handmade cushioned 3-pen jacket. Several others were misplaced and discovered later, and I've since acquired a couple more. So this video only shows about 75% of my pen collection. On my last visit to DAISO, I purchased a 3-drawer storage container. I had saved the receipt for reference, but unfortunately, I misplaced it. Now, DAISO is often called the Japanese dollar store, and they do have plenty of useful products for a mere couple of bucks. But they also have other price points, including $5 and $10. So, although I don't recall the exact cost of this item, I'm positive at the time of purchase it was less than $5. This part was kept in because it shows how easily the label comes off, leaving no residue behind. If you've never been to a DAISO, check them out. Even if you aren't looking for anything, you'll definitely find something useful, whether it's stationery, kitchen gadgets, toys, or snacks. A while back, producer Mike had salvaged a roll of thin, flexible, sticky-backed cork. I believe you can find it at craft stores, where it also comes in the form of sheets. It's what was used in the Choco Cat tin and now for these 3 drawers. Its self-adhesion, flexibility, and ease of cutting makes it mostly fuss-free. Taking the time to actually measure and mark the pieces before cutting would have been smart, and normally that's how I would have gone about it. But it was one of my rare footloose and fancy-free days where doing things seemed like a great idea. Luckily, it wasn't a complicated procedure, so it turned out fine. But now I've got to address a couple of phrases. Footloose and fancy-free is practically archaic, and some people might be wondering, what does Kevin Bacon have to do with this? Well, forget about Kevin. That particular idiom predates him by about a century. Apparently, the terms fancy-free and footloose were used individually in the 1600s, but they were popularized as a power combo in the 1800s. No doubt due to a wave of saucy city folk bringing their sinful shuffle to small-town settings. Wait, I've gotten confused. The other phrase, "wah-do," is something I've not heard outside of my own family. All of my life, we used it as slang for improvise, an alternative to wing it. Like, dude, did you even read the instructions? No, man, I'm doing it. Did anyone else say that, or did my older siblings pull a long con just so I'd embarrass myself on social media in my 50s? Yes, no. I need answers. Since I'm talking about the past, I may as well dig deep to dredge up an uncomfortable memory. Well, uncomfortable for me, hopefully entertaining for you. The things I do for clicks. I actually watched the original Footloose movie when I was maybe 17. As a late-blooming introvert, I had very little interest in seeing a bunch of hormonal teenagers shedding their inhibitions and shaking their things, so I passed on the experience during its theatrical run. However, once it arrived on a cable movie channel, Showtime probably, I was forced to watch it. No, my family didn't have cable TV at the time. This happened at my high school girls' tennis team coach's house during the end of season party. You might be wondering, but Irene, if you were so introverted, why were you on a sports team? Because I was railroaded. Seriously, during a private student counseling session, I'd let it slip that I sometimes enjoyed whacking a ball back and forth with a friend. And next thing I knew, the girls' tennis coach was calling me at home, begging me to join the team. Apparently, they were required to have a full roster of players to be able to compete. And I didn't want to screw the team, did I? So I was a last-minute, meet-the-minimum addition, just so the real athletes could have their fun. The point is, there I was having to socialize at the end of season party, while every other member received a certificate for one thing or another. Best player, most improved player, most inspiring player, most helpful player, yada, 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 until they were all given out and I was the only member of the team to not receive a certificate. Right, that was kinda shitty. You might think I was hurt, but honestly, I knew I was the worst player on the team, so I didn't cry over it. Especially since having to sit through Footloose with a bunch of early blooming teenaged girls was more painful than being unacknowledged. Thank goodness there was food. So I munched on pepperoni pizza while thinking to myself, "Ugh, this is so stupid. Socializing is overrated. I can't wait to get home and back to reading Lord of the Rings." Lest you think the whole thing scarred me for life, it didn't. For some years, in the early 90s, I watched women's professional tennis with barely a twinge. In fact, I was quite a fan of Gabriela Sabatini. She was a joy to watch and reminded me a lot of our high school team's Spanish exchange student, who happened to be our best player. Every time I see a Snickers bar, I can't help but hear it in her voice as Sneakers. To this day, however, I have never rewatched Footloose. I have nothing against Kevin Bacon. I think he was fantastic in Tremors, one of my favorite creature features. He was also in A Stir of Echoes. That's a pretty good ghost movie based on a novel by Richard Matheson. Kevin was also one of the leads in Mystic River. It had a depressing and angrifying story, but it's a well-made film. The outer case has a groove and tab system, so if you want to get multiples, they can stack on top of each other securely. By the way, the pens are organized into color families. Figured that was as good as any other system. And for the curious, I'm now going to give a rundown of the pens shown. A dark brown Pilot Prera, a clear Pen BBS 494, Bower with a carbon fiber design on the barrel, plus gunmetal accents and rose gold trim. A clear Pilot Kakuno, a Lamy Safari in red, a Platinum Prefonte in transparent red, a Kaweco Perkio with a red cap, a Monteverde Ritma with an anodized orange barrel, a Monteverde Monza in transparent honey amber, a Lamy Safari in cream, and a Fountain Pen Revolution Himalaya, a Mahjong Q1, a Kaweco Sport, and a Jinhao 80, all in green. I'm happy to share this "look at me, I'm doing things" session. Sure, I could do like the big boys and girls and buy some of those flocked plastic inserts to nestle my pens. But here at Inkworks, we try to do things on the cheap. In fact, some of you may recall the handmade pen jacket mentioned earlier in this video. That's right, there's a video showing the results. A link is in the description. Thanks for watching. Until next time, don't play the fountain pen roundup game. Keep them organized so you're not finding rogue writers under last month's junk mail, then going all aggro. I could have used you a week ago. And stay pen and inky, my friends.